the wall is coming fast. He is 80 years old, he has just lost the back end in turn 2, and 10,000 people have gone silent. 30 seconds earlier, he was leading laps he had not led in 57 years. Now nobody in that grandstand knows if the car, or the comeback, survives the next 2 seconds. That moment did not come from a movie script. It happened on a Friday night at Stafford Motor Speedway in Connecticut, and the men behind that wheel did something nobody around him expected, not his team, not his family, not the sport that built its modern era around him. Before anything else, here is what this video is really about: an 80-year-old NASCAR legend spinning into a wall at full speed, a YouTube star with millions of subscribers crashing out while fighting for the lead, and a driver nobody was talking about starting dead last and ending up in victory lane. Only one of these becomes the headline, and it is not the one most people expect. And if stories like this keep you hooked, this channel, NASCAR Voltage, is close to hitting 500 subscribers. Hitting subscribe, dropping a like, and leaving a comment genuinely helps this channel keep producing breakdowns exactly like this one. Your support is what decides whether more of these stories get told. Most fans only know Richard Childress as the man standing on pit road, the owner in the sunglasses, the 6-time championship-winning team boss behind Richard Childress Racing. That image skips over who he was before the empire. Between 1969 and 1981, Childress was a broke independent driver in the NASCAR Cup Series, posting 285 career starts and 76 top 10 finishes, with 0 wins to his name. He raced because he loved racing, not because he was winning. Childress has described what those early years at Stafford actually looked like. He said, "We didn't have much money at all," recalling that his team hauled the race car to the track in an old '54 Ford truck. There was no operation, no shop, no sponsorship, just a driver figuring it out one race at a time. Then, in 1981, Childress made the decision that changed NASCAR history. He stepped out of his own car and handed the number 3 to a young driver named Dale Earnhardt. He never raced full-time again. For 45 years, that was the end of the story, until this year reopened it. The reopening came through an unlikely bridge: Garrett Mitchell, known across the internet as Cleetus McFarland. Mitchell built his name racing nitrous-powered Crown Victorias at his own Freedom Factory events, drawing in NASCAR names like Michael Waltrip over the years. In March 2026, Mitchell signed a part-time developmental deal with Richard Childress Racing to compete in the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, an introduction made possible by Childress's own grandson, Ty Dillon. That connection gave Mitchell a direct line to Childress himself, and he used it. Mitchell later explained how little convincing it actually took. He said, "The guys at RCR have been beating me up, saying, 'You've got to get Richard in a race.' I hit him up, I said, 'Hey, if you want to race Stafford, we'll do it.' And he just texted me and said, 'I'm in.'" Childress confirmed the same speed of the decision from his own side. "I talked to Cleetus, and when he asked me to do it, I said, 'Yeah, I'll go,'" he said, adding, "I thought it'd just be fun." An 80-year-old Hall of Famer said yes to a nitrous-powered exhibition race almost instantly, no hesitation, no negotiation. That fast yes became the emotional center of the build-up, and NASCAR's built-in tension engine found its way into the story fast, through the sports memory of Childress's temper. Back in 2011, following a Truck Series race at Kansas Speedway, Childress removed his wristwatch, handed it to his grandson Austin Dillon, and confronted Kyle Busch in a physical altercation after contact between Busch and RCR driver Joey Coulter. That single moment became shorthand across the garage for Childress's willingness to settle things himself, regardless of age or title. RFK Racing driver Ryan Preece, entered in the same Stafford event, brought that history back into the conversation himself. Speaking with Jeff Gluck of The Athletic, Preece said, "Hell, yeah. Yeah, so I already told him to hold my watch." When Gluck asked whether Preece was preparing to rough up an 80-year-old man, Preece immediately walked it back, "Rough him up? Yeah, I don't want to rough him up." Then, turning the joke back on himself, he added, "Well, he can hold my watch then." The exchange raised a real question hanging over the entire event: was this simply fun and games, or was somebody actually about to get hurt? Race night arrived at a sold-out Stafford Motor Speedway, packed with more than 10,000 fans, all watching a field that mixed NASCAR Cup drivers, drifting talent, and internet racers in identical Crown Victorias. The lineup included Childress, Preece, Ty Dillon, Jesse Love, Bobby Earnhardt, drifting star Vaughn Gittin Jr., and Mitchell himself. Childress climbed into the number 3 Crown Vic, the number tied directly to his own driving past and to Earnhardt's legacy, at a track he had not raced at since 1969. Early laps were calm. Childress stayed patient, avoiding the early contact that claimed other cars, while the lead changed hands repeatedly among Zane Smith, Ty Dillon, and Preece. By the midpoint of the 90-lap race, 3 wide battles for the lead were routine, and cautions were already piling up from spins by other competitors. Then came lap 62. Childress spun in turn 2, collecting the wall and bringing out the caution flag with the field slowed behind him. For a moment, the outcome was unclear, whether an 80-year-old driver would climb out, whether the car was done, whether the comeback story ended there. It did not. Childress restarted, ran the car cleanly through the remainder of the race, completed all 90 laps, and crossed the line in 10th place, his first competitive finish since 1969 at that same track. While Childress's story played out, a separate battle was building for the actual lead, and it turned into the night's real controversy. Mitchell made an aggressive move to take the lead from Preece on a restart. Preece reclaimed the position days later in the running order, and then contact between the two sent Mitchell's Crown Victoria into the wall, ending his own bid for the win. The disagreement did not stay settled under caution either. The two continued their back and forth on track, and Preece emerged from it with a flat tire, losing track position entirely. Whether that contact was racing incident or something more personal was left open, with no clear answer from either side afterward. With the front of the field disrupted, the closing laps turned into a scramble. A late multi-car incident reshuffled the leaders again, and a driver largely ignored in the broadcast all night, Zach Walker, began working forward from the back of the field. Walker had started deep in the running order and quietly climbed through the wreckage of others' mistakes. By lap 86, he was in position to contend, and on the final lap, contact between Ty Dillon and Walker in turn 2 decided it. Walker took the win, with Preece crossing second, Bobby Earnhardt finishing 6th, and Mitchell, the men who started the entire story, finishing 20th. The aftermath kept the debate open rather than closing it. Preece, reflecting afterward, called the entire event a blast and described it as very pure, a contrast to the pressure of a normal Cup Series weekend. On watching Childress specifically, Preece did not hold back his respect, saying, he was elbows up, swatting flies, he was having a good time, adding that what Childress did at 80 years old was, in his words, impressive to witness firsthand. No one connected to the event treated the night as fully resolved, not the crash, not the Preece-Mitchell battle, and not the question of what an 80-year-old owner racing a Crown Victoria actually proves. So the question stays open for anyone who watched it. Was this the perfect one-time comeback for a NASCAR Hall of Famer, or does an 80-year-old belong back in that car again? Drop your answer in the comments. That argument is exactly what this story was built to start. If breakdowns like this one are what you come here for, subscribing costs nothing and helps NASCAR Voltage keep making them. And sharing this video with another race fan is the fastest way to help this channel actually reach that 500 subscriber mark. Comment, like, and share this one, and if you enjoy real NASCAR breakdowns like this, you'll like what's coming next.